Good afternoon, everybody, and a warm welcome to you from colleagues from Loughborough University in the UK. My name's Rob Reeves. I work in the international office as the regional manager for South Asia. I will be visiting India as soon as COVID permits, and we have had a long history of welcoming students to the UK from many parts of India, including Chennai. And so I'm very pleased to be part of the session today. A warm welcome to students from DG Vaishnav Arts College. We're very pleased to have you here. Thank you for giving up your time. And I'm also very delighted to introduce my colleague, Dr. Anna Raffoni, who's joined us today to talk a little bit about master's programs in the fields of finance and management, and even courses that perhaps overlap and cover both of those areas. Dr. Raffoni is the director of the corporate finance program that we teach at Loughborough University, and she's a senior lecturer in accounting and finance as well. So without further ado, I'd be delighted to hand over to Dr. Raffoni for the first part of the session. You'll hear from me a little bit later on.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the session. And thank you, Rob, for the very nice introduction. Yes, I'm the director of the MSc in Corporate Finance, and that's an additional reason to be here today. So how this session is going to work? The idea is to start with a brief introduction overview of finance and management programs in the UK. So we will look at usual subjects that are taught, and also maybe when you look at programs what actually you need to pay attention to. Then I will focus a little bit more about Loughborough University, our programs, and what it means studying here in Loughborough. And then we'll give you an overview also of our finance and management programs in particular. Then Rob will close the session with some additional information about the university, what we offer, and in who we are a bit more in detail. All right, so let's start by thinking about and having a look about finance and management masters in the UK. First of all, thinking about the subjects that you are typically included. I will start with the masters in finance, bearing in mind that finance is a relatively broad subject. So depending on what is the career path you might be interested in, you might find master programs that have to be more focused on certain aspects rather than others. I would say that in general, the MSc clearly always starts with an introduction to the basics of finance, also because most of these programs are clearly open to students with any sort of background. So it's about bringing everyone up to speed since the very beginning. Some also includes, for example, an introduction to accounting, like, for example, our masters, we do this, the language of the business. Then typically in all master degrees, you tend to have modules dedicated to corporate finance, again, as an introduction at least. And then subjects that range in terms of investment management or analysis, portfolio management, financial markets, for example, also derivatives and risk management. But again, these with more specific subjects and advanced subjects tend to vary depending on the master degree, the finance master degree that you decide to take. We will see later, for example, in our portfolio of masters, how subjects tend to be different depending on the degree program. If we think about masters in management, all masters tend to provide an introduction to, I would say, a variety of management disciplines. So from their strategic management, for example, think about business strategy, but clearly then they move to subjects like human resources, marketing, human resource management, marketing, again, sometimes introduction to accounting and finance, to give you a broad understanding of, an organization in all senses, and help you in bringing together the different aspects and the different areas that characterize an organization. Again, you will see that there will be, for example, master-specific masters that are just masters in management, but quite often the masters in management tend to have some further specialization. So it's very common to see masters in marketing and management. So apart from a broad introduction to management subjects, there will be a specific focus in marketing. There are, for example, masters in management and for example, finance, like, some of those that we offer, or for example, management and human resource management as a focus. So you could find both like very broad management degrees, but also degrees that have some sort of characterization with a specific subject. When you think about doing a master study in another country, in particular in the UK, clearly, I'm sure you have got lots of questions about how to make this selection, what to look for, which, for example, degrees tend to be more relevant. So we've got a few suggestions, few aspects that maybe you can try, to check and to look at when making your choices. So, for example, one important thing, to look at when making your decisions is, for example, to look at accreditations. Accreditation that the university or the school may have as a school, for example, by international accounting bodies that look at, for example, the quality of the teaching, of the faculty, and so on. But also accreditations at program levels. So many masters, and this is always an element that help you later on in your career, to make you stand out, do have accreditations from relevant bodies. For example, it could be accreditation from the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, the world-renowned, management accounting body, or it could be from other bodies in the finance context or in the management context. So these are typically accreditations offers an opportunity, to better sell yourself, later on in the market. When thinking about, for example, where to take your degree, if you think about UK, there are more than 100 universities, so clearly there is lots of choice. So where to start from? One possibility is, for example, to look at the UK rankings of the universities that you can find. For example, I put some example here, like in the Guardian University Guide, the Times and the Sunday Times Good University Guide. These are, very good starting point in starting looking at how different universities are rated across different dimensions. That, for example, they're about not only teaching and learning, but students' experience, but also research. So it's very important when making this decision to think about a degree where you've got faculty members that are also leading aspects in their subjects, because clearly, they are going to inform their teaching with, cutting edge research in that field. So really projecting you into the future. One last aspect, which is related to what I said, is thinking about looking at the quality of the academic faculty and their research. And the guides provide the first indication, but for example, you could also look at what we call the REF rankings. The REF is the Research Excellence Framework. It is a system through which UK universities are valued every 4 or 5 years, it depends, about their research. So you can look at the REF rankings to have an understanding of how good the research is in that university. I will move now a bit more, focus on Loughborough and who we are as a School of Business and Economics, and then I will give you some more information about the specific programs that that we offer. So this is a picture. You can see our school here with this S shape. I have a better picture just after this slide with the entire campus. So this is a campus-based university. This is Loughborough campus, and you can see within the green area, I hope not to give you an headache by moving the arrow, how big the campus is. So here is where, you know, our School of Business Economics is based. And I think one of the first things that you can notice apart from the size of the campus is the fact that you can possibly see quite a few sports facilities. So we are, you know, the most renowned university in UK, you know, for sports. And actually, I'm quite pleased to say that, for example, I'm here, my office is here on this side, you know, next to the cricket pitch. I'm not sure if you know, but, you know, thinking about how famous we are for sport, you know, during the 2012 Olympics, the Team GB, you know, was based here at Loughborough University. And during the last Olympics in Rio, we had quite a few students participating to the Olympics as well. So when you think about Loughborough, studying here in Loughborough, you need to think about having the possibility to have, you know, a nice, you know, campus experience in terms of life and, you know, enjoying not only studying, but clearly also, you know, sporting facilities and social life that you can have here at the universities. And Rob will say a few more words about this later. Brief overview graphically about our faculty and the fact that we are definitely an international faculty. Maybe these are not the latest, like a few weeks ago figures, but they're highly representative of how international we are. You can see that of the staff, about 80% are UK native speaker, you know, British people. But then there is a, you know, quite broad range of staff coming from other countries and other continents. So about 30 from Europe, with, you know, a wide variety of countries represented, like Finland, France, Italy. Clearly, I'm an example of that, if you hadn't guessed from my accent. Also, for example, Peru and Brazil. We've got colleagues, you know, from China and India. So we are, if you think about the staff, there is a big portion of staff that comes from outside the UK. So we are a very nice group where, you know, clearly, you know, diversity and culture, you know, is possibly one of the things that we value the most, this richness. I was talking at the beginning about, you know, the importance of looking at accreditation when thinking about choosing where to do your degree. And as a business school, but you will see with Robos as a university, we're clearly highly ranked. We are highly ranked in those university guides that I was mentioning before. So, for example, you know, if you look at the Times and Sunday Times guide, we are, you know, third, for example, for business studies. We are 10th for finance and accounting, 10th for finance economics. We are, apart from thinking about the subjects, we are, you know, one of the top 5 universities in terms of graduate level employability. So this is something clearly, you know, to think about when considering clearly, you know, what happens after, you know, your degree. This is the range of MSc programs that the School of Business and Economics offer. As you can see, they're spread across a number of subjects that reflect the expertise that we have in the university, in the school, not in the university. University is a little bit broader. And as you can see, there are, you know, masters, for example, more focused on business and management, masters specifically focused in marketing, information management and business analytics. I was trying, can't see my arrow. Okay, I wanted to use the arrow to highlight what the parts I was talking about. For example, information management and business and analytics. HRM, business psychology, and clearly, a number of masters in finance and economics, which are one of the reasons why I'm here today to talk about this. So if you think about it, quite a few covers management aspects, but at the same time, they've got some specialization in the other subjects. Here in pink, we have also highlighted the accreditations that we have. So apart from being a triple accredited school, we also have accreditations from the relevant bodies for a number of our programs. Talk a little bit more about the finance and finance management programs at Loughborough University later on. So we'll give you more detailed information about that. So here are our finance and management programs. We have 3 specialist finance masters that are part of the same suite, and in particular, Master in Finance, Master in Corporate Finance, Master in Finance and Investment. So these are 3 specialist masters. So if you're really seeking for a specific career into finance. And then we've got a bit of a broader program that includes also, a management element, which is called MSc in Finance and Management. As I said before, I will give you details about the programs in a bit. But before I do that, what I would like to do is to discuss, to present what we think is important, why it is important to why choosing Loughborough, compared to other programs, because there are many clearly in the UK, but we think that there are quite a few elements that characterize and make our program stand out. So before giving details about the programs, I would like to make you think about the type of experience that you could have at Loughborough University. So the first element is our research expertise. The second element is the employability and how our programs can develop your employability. Third aspect is about learning transferable skills rather than just subject-specific skills. And the fourth element is the fact that we are a top-ranked university, highly regarded, and that our programs, most of our programs, are actually, accredited by the main and the most relevant bodies. So thinking about our research expertise, if I thinking about clearly in particular the finance and management programs, our group, Accounting and Finance Management Group, have expertise in a wide range of subjects, and in particular, subjects like corporate finance and financial markets. Some of my colleagues are actually leading academics in the field. For example, my colleague, Wynand Thao, which is also our head of discipline at the moment, is a leading expert in corporate finance and teaches quite a few subjects and has quite a few courses in our finance programs. My colleague, Professor Andy Vivian, sorry, I can't find my arrow again. Okay, here it is. My colleague Andy Vivian is an expert in financial markets, and he has received a number of recognitions also in terms of his research at conferences, and as a best paper award he won quite a few, so he's really an expert in this field. Apart from research expertise, I would like to highlight already that many of my colleagues, also have professional experience, which clearly help, supports and informs our teaching, which is about research and providing you with, the learning experience with cutting edge research, but also with our professional experience. So, for example, my colleague Stavroula Fanti, she's an expert in international financial management, but she also has 10 years of experience at the National Greek Bank. So in terms of staff, we have, we're quite experienced both in terms of research, but also, from a professional point of view. Employability is the other aspect that I would like to highlight. So we are a very highly regarded university from employers, and if you look at our statistics, they are actually quite interesting. So about 90% of postgraduates are in work and or in further study after graduating. So this is a very significant statistic. We also have, for example, one of the largest, career fairs in the UK, which clearly, is a very big opportunity for the students to go and meet employers. We also have, career service, both at UG level, but in particular a PG level, that provides, great support in understanding the market, preparing, for example, for interviews, thinking about different careers opportunities that you might have. So this is a very important resource that when you're here, you're able to use, to start thinking immediately about your future career. I must say that on day one, when we do the induction for the masters, and actually we are due in a few weeks, talking about careers is one of the first elements that we always include in the induction, because it's important to think about it since the very beginning. Apart from statistics, I would like to show you where actually our finance and finance management graduates are working after studying in Loughborough universities. As you can see here, there are the name of many important organizations like HSBC, Lloyds Bank, General Electric, and for example, one of our first graduates, so was like 5 years ago, is now senior vice president of one of the HSBC subsidiaries. We've got a student in the financial management in General Electric. Apart from specific finance career, you can see that, for example, some students are working for some of the big four, consultancy companies like Deloitte or PricewaterhouseCoopers as consultant. And if you look at the type of jobs, actually they cover quite a range of jobs and careers, within the finance world, from, being more, on the in fund manager and investment management side to, for example, being risk manager, or being a consultant. So in a sense, choosing some of our programs will give you a wide range of possibilities in terms of building and choosing a career later on. A third element that I think is particularly important is the fact that here at the Loughborough Business School, School of Business and Economics, I don't want to forget the economic side of the school clearly. For us, it's about clearly teaching you subject-specific skills, because these are those that will help you in building a professional career in a certain area. But most importantly for us is about key transferable skills that will make you stand out in your career and later on. So for us, it is about helping you in developing the ability to work in groups, in teams, being able to analyze data, develop original ideas, become critical. So when I've got here this part about weigh the evidence, is about thinking when you look at a problem, or when you think about an issue, is about thinking about this aspect in terms of, in a critical way, in terms of positive aspects, negative aspect, and clearly finding a balance when proposing the evidence. And the other important aspect is the ability of being able to present your findings. So when you work hard with your team, for example, you analyze your data, you develop original ideas, you're critical, but then the next very important aspect is the ability to communicate your results to a specific audience. To be able to do this, we have, our teaching and assessment approach are based on a range of methods. So clearly there is an element of lecturing, which is a little bit more traditional, but is also having not only lectures, but for example, smaller groups, activities like seminars. We do use a lot case studies, and apart from having only your academic staff teaching you, is about also involving, for example, our partners in the industry in our teaching. So it's very common, for example, to have guest lectures, but also we also try to, for example, develop teaching activities with industry partners. So for example, last year we organized a one-day event with Amplified Trading, which is an organization that provides training to traders for major organizations like Morgan Stanley and Swiss Bank. And we had a full day simulation training where students could switch, between, different areas and different jobs within the day. And so this is clearly, providing you with sort of a real world experience in terms of trading and simulation. Also is about not only individual work, it's about most of our modules includes, group coursework that might be group coursework that could include, for example, writing a report to present your data, but very, very often is about, actually presenting your work, to the faculty, or even potentially, to industry partners. Those sort of things could also be part of the program. One key element for the finance programs is the fact that is a use of our trading room and the use of Eikon by Thomson Reuters. This is a trading software that is not, it's clearly available to the students, but is for us a key element because it is really built into the program. So a number of modules within the finance programs actually do use Eikon to to develop, for example, in terms of assessment, in terms of research, in terms of developing specific aspects within the module. So for us, it's not just about what I would like to say is don't think about this as an attachment to the program, but given its importance and how much it is used, is about building it into most of the modules that actually we deliver. Also, you've got the possibility to obtain a certificate as a result of this training. So typically, we have Thomson Reuters coming at the very beginning of the master program and providing basic training in using the software. And then, as you use it, with the different modules, you will become an expert in using the software. The final aspects I would like to highlight, and partially we have already done it, is accreditation. I said at the very beginning how important it is in terms of choosing a university. Clearly, we would like to present ourselves as one of those top-rated schools and universities. So I've been, through these figures before, but you see we've got saying the latest university guidance, Guardian University League. We are second in accounting and finance. We've got, we're one of the top 10 UK universities in a number of subjects, but we are also for example, within the top 200 universities for accounting and finance at world level. One last aspect that I would like to highlight is the fact that all our programs, the finance programs, are accredited by CIMA, so the Chartered Institute for Management Accountants. This is the world's leading organization for management accountants, and as I was mentioning earlier, this is one of those accreditations that will help you in standing out, in your future career. Attending the programs will give you a number of exemptions, in terms of receiving, the CIMA certificate. A few more words now about. I'm conscious of time, so a few more words now about our finance and management programs. I mentioned at the beginning that our masters in finance, corporate finance, and finance and investments are considered our specialist masters, so they are essentially focused on finance subjects. There isn't much management into those. It's very, very specific. The three masters share the first semester because the first semester is about bringing everyone up to speed. So considering the fact that it's open to students with different backgrounds, subjects like, for example, principles of finance or financial markets, or methods for data analysis are included in the first semester to provide you with the foundations that are necessary then for your master's degree and to study more advanced subjects. Then, depending on which master you decide to study, finance, corporate finance, or finance and investment, you will study, more specific and advanced subjects within the finance realm. I'm going to start with the MSc in Finance, which is the broadest of the three programs. If, for example, you're not completely sure about which finance career you would like, this is typical the master that we suggest to study, because here you will study a broad range of subjects in terms of finance subjects. You've got, for example, modules in corporate finance, in investment management, like asset pricing and portfolio selection. So a broad range of subjects. Because it is the broadest, is also the one that usually you've got more optional modules. So depending on then what your preferences are and the understanding, I would say, that you develop about the finance subjects, you've got the possibility to specialize, to choose among 5 optional modules, and then clearly, to take a more specific direction as you head into the second and the third semester. Because it is a very broad program, clearly gives you lots of possibilities in terms of career prospects. For example, the financial market, trading, accountancy, but also, for example, consultancy career. So depending on which subjects, for example, you choose in terms of defining the program. The MSc in Corporate Finance is a bit more specific, and it is the ideal master if you are thinking about, for example, a career in the treasury department of an organization, or, for example, a bank. Here the focus is clearly on corporate finance, so major subjects that we teach are, for example, mergers and acquisition, international financial management, dividend policy, for example, executive compensation, and these are, I would say, main subjects that we teach, because it is more specifically designed, of the 3 masters, this is also the one with the least optional modules. So unfortunately, you have only one optional choice, for this master. But the reason is that it is way more defined since the very beginning in terms of the career profile that you're going to follow to undertake later on. The MSc in Finance and Investment is really the program that is ideal if you're looking for a trading career and a career in investment management, investment banking, or similar. So here, there is clearly less focus on subjects like corporate finance or dividend policy, and the emphasis is on subjects like trading, portfolio management, or global investment analysis. Also here you've got a few optional modules, not as many choices as in the finance, but there is a possibility to choose a few modules in the second and third semester as well. So if you're thinking about a career in investment banking or as a trader, this is really, the program that is for you. Finally, the MSc in Finance and Management we consider this a broader sort of program. So it is not a program that specifically focuses on finance only, but it also gives you a broader understanding of the management subjects. So similar to the masters I mentioned at the very beginning. Here, for example, you receive some of the subjects that you study here apart from corporate finance, principles of finance, for example, are also human resource management, and also marketing, for example. So it is a way broader sort of understanding of the finance and management subject. Again, here, because it is this broader, the range of careers you can think of are possibly even more, as traders, as analysts, as auditors, for example, or consultants. And also here, I'm mentioning at the very beginning, we have students, ending up in very important, organizations after studying, the finance and management master. For us, it's always, very important to stay connected. So here I've put, some, our Twitter, and our Facebook account. So, there are, many ways of reaching us. And apart from, stay in contact at the very beginning, for us it's very important to stay in contact with students afterwards. So, to build, a community of Loughborough master students. One thing, I've been like very quick, on the description of the masters because I'm conscious of time, but I'm happy to take questions later and after, Rob concludes his presentation. So it's all from me for the moment. Rob, I hand over to you again.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Anna. So I think that was a really, really nice insight into careers and options in management courses and in particular in finance programs. So whether you're looking to study in the UK or Loughborough specifically or other universities, I think it's really good in terms of your research now to look at the things we've discussed, look at the employability, look at the different accreditations, support that you can expect, the different skills that you were going to get from these degrees, and of course if you are suitable for the programs based on your qualifications. And I'll come back onto that a little bit later on, but thank you again, Dr. Raffoni, for that really good session. If you can perhaps just load the next slide for me. I'm going to introduce,
yeah, sure.
I'm going to introduce a little bit more about Loughborough University as an example of a UK university. I think it's a really good case study, if you like, if nothing else for you, because whilst we have a number of activities at our Loughborough campus, we have been home to a campus in London for 5 years, which has some specific courses even including finance on the kind of the digital stream. We have entrepreneurship courses there as well. So for those of you who are interested in finance or other commerce subjects, but perhaps not been covered today, we have a number of other courses available in London. Loughborough as a campus-based university. We're a town in the East Midlands, so we are between the cities of Leicester, which has a very large Indian community, home to Leicester City for you football fans. Nottingham, where I live, is also not too far away to travel to. Nottingham's very famous for also sports, particularly if you're a big cricket fan like me. You can get to the Trent Bridge cricket ground pretty easily to watch some cricket. And to get to London, it's about an hour and 20 minutes by a direct train. And when you're in London, it's about 10 minutes from King's Cross, St Pancras, to reach our London campus. So in the next slide, we're going to look a little bit more at our academic ranking. So we've heard a lot about the school. We've heard a lot about the consistent top 10 messages. Some subject areas even better, and for employability, we have an outstanding reputation for the school. This kind of is in line with the rest of the UK's perception of Loughborough. In the UK rankings that we are given a ranking every year, we are number 5 out of 130 plus universities in the Times ranking, which is perhaps the most prestigious ranking in the UK. We are number 7 in the Guardian, and we are number 6 in the Complete University Guide. So they look at rankings, employability, student satisfaction, student staff ratio, and you'll find us no lower than number 7 in any UK ranking. We're top 10 for research. We offer a number of other programs. Obviously, we're here to talk about finance and management today, but if you or any of your peers are interested in other courses, we have very good reputation in the field of sport, as we've kind of alluded to. We're number 1 in the world for sports courses, top 30 for areas in art and design, and also top 50 for media in the world. So we have a lot of very good, diverse range of students studying different courses with us as well. The picture on the right-hand side is of our Queen giving our Vice-Chancellor, who is pretty much twice the size of our Queen, in terms of height, the latest of the university medals, which the Buckingham Palace award every year, and only the University of Oxford have more. So on the next slide, we're going to look a little bit more again at the campus, not to reinvent the wheel, because we've had a very good introduction to this, but just to point out, if you're interested in sports, if you're interested in hobbies, and continuing those passions, we have a number of activities for you. This is the Loughborough campus, where all of our business and economics modules are taught. You live on campus. You have the option to go into the town of Loughborough whenever you like, which is about a 10-minute walk away. There is a shuttle bus that goes there as well. And everything that you need is in one place. So in terms of the other subjects, the next slide highlights just a few different other areas you may want to consider. If you're not completely interested in business and economics, we offer engineering programs, we offer social science programs, we offer sports programs. So this just gives you a bit of an insight. And all of our master's degrees would be for 1 year, PhDs generally for 3 years. So if you're looking perhaps to go on to do your PhD within finance, we've got a very famous research group in finance and accounting, as we've mentioned, and other areas you may want to consider. So that's just a bit of an overview at the Loughborough campus. So moving on to what also we have to offer, the next slide looks a little bit more at London. So London has an East London campus on the Olympic Park. As we've mentioned, we're in this Here East complex, so very close to a lot of the sporting facilities which are still open and used. The Olympic Stadium is used by West Ham United in the Premier League. We also have good partners in London, such as BT Sports and Plexel, who have a business startup company. For those of you who are looking at more of the entrepreneurship routes, that is certainly something that's available with our campus in London. In terms of the courses we teach in London, an overview is on the next slide, where we're essentially teaching you the areas related to commerce would be in things like digital marketing and digital finance. In our Digital Technologies Institute, we have an entrepreneurship and innovation program within that institute listed there, and we have international management. So there are similar programs, but with different specialisms that are based there. For those of you who are interested in a commerce program, perhaps related to sport, you can consider sport management at our Loughborough campus. which is actually taught in partnership with the School of Business and Economics. And if you're interested in sport marketing, for example, we have programs at our London campus as well. Coming to the end of what I had to discuss today, the next slide looks a little bit more at our recognition. So we've been voted the University of the Year, which is very we're very chuffed to have this award, but more so because it's voted for by students. So this is the Student Choice Award. So this links into our reputation for having very good student experience, life after lectures, being a safe environment, very affordable, lots of activities that go on throughout the year as well. So that's something to really look at when you're choosing your UK university as well. So moving on, when we're looking at other areas to consider, we've touched on employability today. One thing I would mention is that there are, in a number of our programs, an option to do a kind of an industry-based dissertation where you can do a project based within industry. So with the exception of our MBA, which has an internship year, all of our MSCs are a one-year taught MSc. They won't have internships necessarily within the program, although there are programs like business analytics where you do a big project with industry within the program. So that's something to look out for. As a university, the school has very good support in terms of career development, and there are employability modules taught throughout our programs. But in more generally, the Careers Network team, they arrange events throughout the year. They're voted #1 in the UK for student employer connections, top 10 for graduate prospects. And as you may know, the post-study work is being introduced next year. So if you join the UK universities next year, when you graduate, you will benefit from a 2-year stay back in the UK, which will allow you to work either through a full-time job or an internship without the need to be sponsored by a company. So it's very easy, a lot easier for you and very easy for you to stay in the UK after graduation. And to do that, what is given as a benefit is that our Careers Network will give you 3 years of support post-graduation. So that will cover your post-study work years plus an additional year. And to do that, we have a number of different fairs that go on. This year, we're going to concentrate more on the virtual fairs and small-scale events with COVID in mind, but we're fully expecting come the spring to have those companies back onto campus in a larger environment if social distancing permits. The other thing to mention about Loughborough, and we have mentioned sport a couple of times, but the next slide looks a little bit more at options for you to get involved in sports, either at the volunteering level, either at the trying a new sport for the first time, or if you are a big sports fan like me and you want to get involved with the clubs, there are many options to play, for example, football, cricket, tennis, get involved in athletics, swimming in your spare time as well. The picture of the cricketer at the bottom right-hand side is Sam Billings. He is a graduate from Loughborough. He did sports science, but alongside his degree, he played top-class cricket, and he was signed by Kent even before he'd finished his degree. But he said, no, I want to finish my degree. I'll come and play cricket the next year. So it's a very, very good option if you are interested in playing competitive sports, including football and cricket. However, about 40% of students never get involved in the sports. So you don't have to be involved in the sports. What is useful is that the next slide looks a bit more at some of the societies and fun activities you can get involved in. So whether that is part of our religious societies and clubs, that can be part of food societies, dance societies, drama societies. There is something for everybody at the university as well. So just moving on to the next slide, again, talks about some of the different sports that we have, but I could talk about sports all day and I'm conscious of time, so we'll move on slightly. The final slide I wanted to really focus on is the kind of entry requirements to consider, and we'll end on this slide. So thank you for listening and being with us for the session. I think in terms of whether you'll be eligible for our programs, generally would depend on your percentages. So for most of our finance programs, you will be expected to be from a quantitative background. And what we mean by that is something that would be related to business, finance, mathematics, statistics, engineering in some disciplines. And that's to show that you've got, first of all, the analytical skills, but you've got the quantitative modules in there. So that could be anything from algebra to financial modeling, or whatever it would be that you've been taught in your bachelor's degree. For our specific master's programs in finance and investments and corporate finance, you would need to normally have a substantial amount of modules in that background. Not necessarily finance, but shows that you're very good with numbers and maths and that you'll cope with that level. If you're interested in our finance and management program, it's kind of a conversion course for those who are perhaps had no background in finance but are interested in studying it, or have a little bit of finance experience, but perhaps not enough for them to focus on a discipline that has more intensive finance modules. So that's a little bit more flexible in terms of the requirements. So for most of our finance programs, you would need to get between 60 and 65%, which is the aggregate across all 3 or 4 years of your degree. And you would need to have good levels of English. So for example, we would normally ask you to take an IELTS test. But if you're getting good scores in your standard 12th, we would waive off the IELTS requirements for you. In terms of scholarships, and I know a number of you will be looking for what scholarships we have. In the UK, a lot of universities have different scholarships based on merit, based on application, based on interview. At Loughborough, to keep it simple and keep it fair, if you have between 60 and 65%, depending on your institution, we will automatically offer a 10% scholarship off the fees. If you get higher than that, let's say 70%, you have a high chance of getting our 20% scholarship, which again is automatically taken off the fees. If you're applying up for our MBA program, which would need 3 years of experience, so this would be something you perhaps think of in the future, we have scholarships worth between 25 and 40%, depending on your academic level and your level of work experience. And for those of you who are playing national level sports, for certain sports, there are scholarships of up to £5,000. Okay, I'm sorry if I've kind of rushed through my slides. I think it's really key, first of all, to hear from Dr. Raffoni in terms of what you can expect from a degree in finance and management in the UK, and particularly what we have to offer at Loughborough. We do have time now for questions. So what I'd like to do, if possible, is to hand back over to Hashik or perhaps Bhavna to explain a little bit to us more about the kind of questions we're getting and how we can help with those questions before we conclude the session.
Absolutely. Thank you for such a wonderful and informative session. So we have questions here on YouTube channel. And first question is, a student who has completed class 12 and done ACCA course, will he be eligible to do masters in accounting and finance?
I think usually we would look at students who have not, it depends also on their bachelor's degree, because we would certainly prefer them and expect them to have a bachelor's degree as well. Those who have just done their standard 12 and then ACCA qualifications, we would look at that, but perhaps along with work experience. But commonly, we would look at ACCA as a qualification, but we would expect students to have a bachelor's degree as well. Is there anything you'd like to add to that, Anna?
No, I totally agree with that. And I think that I would like to go back to what you were mentioning before about the importance of quantitative skills. So that is for us, is a key element that, we need to make sure, it is there, before actually we allow students, to enter the master. It wouldn't be fair otherwise. The finance subjects entail a significant advanced, quantitative element, so that can come from different subjects, as Rob was saying, math, engineering, previous finance studies, but it's fundamental that it's there.
All right. Thank you for the answer. Next question is...
Yeah, Bhavna, I'll just take it from here. Sorry. So we have another question from a student, like, is there a Bloomberg facility available in the university?
So Bloomberg, I think the software and training equipment we tend to use comes from Thomson Reuters. We don't have anything that's Bloomberg specific now.
No. Okay, fine. So the third question is, what are the career opportunities after completing accounting and finance? Can I become a chartered accountant in the UK?
I mean, we perhaps my colleague can answer that from the accounting side, obviously as a senior lecturer, but at Loughborough University in particular, we don't have a master's program in accounting and finance. we have a program at the bachelor's level, but we don't have anything at the master's level. But I guess just general advice. I'm not sure if you have anything to add. Dr.
No, that is exactly the point. It with the finance masters or the finance and management you cannot think about a specific career in accounting, because unfortunately it doesn't prepare for that. So at PhD level at the moment we don't have that option, but we do have that at an undergraduate level where we've got an accounting and finance program which is one of our main UG degrees in the area of accounting and finance, but is only at UG level.
I think what I'd advise for those who are interested in accounting and finance is to contact the SIUK offices closer to where you are. They'll be able to, particularly in Chennai, they'll be able to explain the different UK universities that have. If you are specifically looking for an accounting-based master's degree, then it's probably best. We're not really the experts when it comes to accounting because we don't offer the MSc currently.
Thanks, Rob. Next question is a frequently asked question, like, do we have any industry tie-up for this course?
Industry tie-ups, what we tend to, so with the finance programs, obviously we have the accreditations that are given. I'm not sure particularly if there are any tie-ups, although obviously as we've mentioned, we have a lot of collaboration with the big four consultancy firms in terms of them coming to campus, in terms of offering jobs and things like that. Would there be any perhaps industries, any site visits or any other areas where students can collaborate with industry within the degree at all?
I would say specifically no, but I think the main thing is that in all the modules we tend to have the participation, for example, of industry partners as guest lecture. As I was mentioning earlier, we tend to the plan is to do more of this simulation event as possible, so not to just have like industry partners coming and discussing about the topic, but also have them a little bit more involved also on the teaching side of the program. But in terms of specifically working like on an industry-based project, for example, at the moment is something we don't have.
Okay, so let's go to the next question. Do they have conversion course for accounting, and if so, is it again ACCA recognized?
So we don't have anything in accounting, unfortunately, at the master's level, no.
So next question. Does Loughborough have Jan 21 intake for MSc Account and Finance?
So we do have a January intake. So for those interested in January, we have programs available in management, in marketing, in the field of international business, and in the field of our information business technology management program. So those programs are available, but again, we don't offer accounting and finance. The application dates are open now, so you can apply now, and we'd encourage you to do so. So the only thing we would add to that is that when you have paid, similar to the September course next year, when you have submitted all of your documents, you would need to pay a £2,500 deposit by normally the end of November to be accepted onto the program, and we would then send you the CAS, which is what you would need for the visa. But yes, very much so. There are four programs and our MBA, if students are qualified, that are available in January.
Can I just add one thing to that, Rob? For the finance programs, we don't have the January intake. And as Rob was saying, at the moment, applications are open. And maybe one thing to consider if you're thinking about joining us, now, relatively quickly, is the fact that because, of the COVID situation, we are offered students the opportunity to join online for the first semester and then coming, in the second semester. So maybe you join now and you study online, you've got, some time also, to organize yourself, to join later.
Exactly right. Applications are open, but you need to be very quick because term starts in less than a month's time.
5th of October.
Okay, next is an interesting question. Do we have a course to study accounts as well as any kind of sports? So I believe the student is looking for any sports program as well. So do we have a combination since Loughborough is very famous for sports?
No, again, we don't offer anything in accounting. For the course discipline, we don't have the option to do, say, a commerce program where you learn basic areas and then a kind of a sporting interest. However, the closest we would come would be a sport management course where all the modules you learn that's related to sports and anything that's in the commerce field will be taught by the School of Business and Economics. So such as the marketing, such as maybe the financial side of sports. You, however, would need to normally be from a kind of a commerce background for that, or from a social science or sporting background to come onto the program. So it's a very, very popular program given the reputation for sports at Loughborough. But there wouldn't be a kind of a little bit of accounting or a little bit of finance and then a little bit of sport. It would just be a discipline that's focused on sport, but with some of the fundamentals of business within the program.
Next question is from a student. Do you have to quarantine ourselves before the classes starts, or Loughborough would provide an accommodation in the quarantine period?
So there's if the basis that students are coming in September this year, we are now providing accommodation as we speak. Students are arriving all this week to begin their self-isolation period for 2 weeks. Now, we do provide accommodation on campus to those who have chosen the on-campus accommodation for their term time. Those who are living off campus have arranged privately with their provider the arrangements to come and join. Those of you who are coming in January, if, and that's only an if, we're not sure what's going to happen yet, if the UK still requires self-isolation for visitors from certain countries, that will be provided in terms of rooms on campus if students are applying for those accommodation rooms. However, when it comes to September next year, it's a little bit too far away for us to predict what's going to happen. If and when we need to offer self-isolation rooms, of course we will do where possible. But I think next year and even in January, we're confident that we won't need to. Hopefully, we won't even need to have self-isolation. But again, it will really depend on how the COVID condition is, not only in the UK but in those countries that currently are required to self-isolate on arrival. So it's very much a watch and see basis. But if we need to, we would certainly provide that support for students.
Okay, next question. Does the career guidance cell helps the students to get their internships post-study?
Internships, perhaps in terms of after the course, more so it's the full-time jobs. It's the placements, I guess, as you would refer to them in India. So the careers team will provide that support not only just at the end of the program, throughout the course. It's up to students to go along and get that support, of course, and go along to these events. But anything from LinkedIn profiles to interview skills, mock interviews, assessment days, CV writing, these are the kind of skills that we would give to students that do prepare them for jobs after graduation. And the post-study work makes that a lot more flexible for students now as well.
Okay. Next question. What is the relaxation period if my visa gets postponed or the process gets postponed? What is the relaxation period for the students?
I don't really understand the question, to be honest. If a student's visa is refused for any reason, we would certainly look, depending on the reasons for that, to offer a new CAS and to support that student to apply for the visa again. But again, it would depend on the situation for that. So I hope it answers the question, but I'm not entirely sure what the question means, unfortunately.
The student meant whether the university will give them a time to join. If there's a delay, the visa gets, normally sometimes the visa gets postponed to get it approved. So in that case, we will get a relaxation time. A joining date can be postponed. Is there an option for that?
So we are expecting students to be with us. For example, for September, they would need to be with us for the start of October for the term, but they can begin their studies online for all of our business programs if they're getting delayed. So let's say they have all the documents in place, they pay the deposit, and they're not able to travel because of the visa delay. Then they can start online, and then as soon as they would get the visa, they can travel to the UK. So as we said before, the first semester will be available to start to study online. For January, we will have to make that decision closer to the time. If we are finding that students would need to have the online starts due to COVID, then we will revisit that. But as things stand, January will be a face-to-face only opportunity. So we would expect students to arrive in good time. Obviously, January, there is plenty of time between now and then for students to obtain their visa. September, again, we've got a year away, so there should be plenty of time there.
Thanks, Rob. So one last question. So when does the application starts for the September 2021 intake, and what are the scholarships will be provided for this course, Accounts and Finance?
Sure. Okay. So applications are open for both January and September intakes for next year. Again, we don't offer accounting and finance, but for all of our finance programs, management programs, and all the other disciplines we've mentioned today, applications will be open now. However, we won't normally start to process applications until next month, which is usually what we would have as our priorities. And for scholarships, you'd be automatically considered for a scholarship on receipt of your final grades, which will be hopefully 70%, which would normally lead to our highest scholarship, which is a 20% scholarship. If students are looking for a higher level scholarship, you can apply for the Commonwealth scholarships through the British Council, and I'm sure SI UK colleagues can advise students about how to go about those scholarships. But from the university side, we're offering our competitive 10 and 20% scholarships based on merit. So if you have achieved those grades, we would certainly offer you the discount off the fees automatically without an application or interview or anything like that. So that will be done when we receive the grades. So if students have received the grades now, then we can offer the scholarships now. If they're a student who is graduating next year, when we receive the results next year, maybe May, June time, we can then offer the scholarships at that point. What I would add, Anna, if you're okay to just put the last slide up, I'm going to suggest that students contact me initially if they have any questions about Loughborough in terms of the application process. You can see here we've got quite a number of Indian students who are joining us every year. But please do get in touch with me if you have any further questions. I can then refer any questions that are course specific or in particular MSc Corporate Finance specific to Dr. Rafoni and colleagues who would be also happy to help with those questions. But please do get in touch if you would like to know more for either September this year, although you need to hurry up a little because we're starting our program soon, or for January or for September next year. We have flexible options for study. So please get in touch. Thank you so much for the session today. Thank you so much to my colleague, Dr. Rafoni, for her time and passion in terms of talking to you about why you should consider finance. I'm certainly interested myself now. And thank you to the college and also to SI UK for arranging the session today. So it's very much appreciated. I guess if there's no further questions, we'd just like to say thank you again. Goodbye from us, and please stay safe and take care.
Thank you so much, Rob. We don't have further questions. Guys, if you have any questions, please contact your nearby SIK office. Feel free to be in touch with us. I would like to take one more minute to talk about a fair. We have a fair on October 10th in India, across India, so people can join in from anywhere. It's an online fair on 10th of October from 1 to 6 p.m. So please join us and you can meet a number of universities. We almost have 50 plus universities there. You can meet all universities and get benefits. Thank you so much to be a part of this event. I would like to thank Rob as well as the professor to be a part of this. Thanks for accepting our proposal. It's really great. We had a lot of inputs. Students would have definitely got their day happier. So thank you so much. We'd like to see you in another session in future.
Thank you so much. And
Thank
for those
you.
for those of you coming along to the 10th of October fair with SI UK, you can expect to see me there as well. So we'll be attending to follow up with any questions you have from today. So thanks again all, and stay safe, and we'll hopefully speak to you soon.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks so much. Stay safe.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a nice day. Have a nice day. Have a nice day, Professor.
Sir, 1 నిమిషం మాత్రమే